Video games have always had a very love-hate relationship with pinball. In a way, classic video games owe a lot to the pinball subculture, taking ideas such as the 3 live systems and high score lists, as well as at times unfairly punishing difficulty and random factors that were designed to take your money as much as possible. However, when games like Kirby started to appear, the focus became more on giving the player a fulfilling and complete experience rather than trying to kill them as soon as they hit start. After all, you'd already paid $40 for the game, they weren't going to get anything more out of you by making it extremely difficult. That's where the anomaly known as Kirby's Pinball Land comes into play. At its heart, it's still a pinball game, but done in such a way that it would only work in a digital format. You got enemies that move around, targets and power-ups to hit, as well as minigames that you can access. While it too follows a 3 live system, it gives you every opportunity to save yourself. You can spawn Maxim Tomatoes to block the center aisle, Pet Brew to block the sides, and even if you do fall down, you land on a launcher platform, and if you time it correctly, it'll send you back up to the board. However, every time you use it, it gets smaller and gets harder to time it correctly. So the forgiving theme that defines Kirby is still here. There are 3 different boards with each one linked to a hub area. Each of the boards has 3 sections as well as a 4th boss area at the top, which is only accessible via Warp Star. It's actually rather similar to the classic NES title Pinball, where each screen has its own set of paddles, and draining from one will take you to the previous screen until you finally fall out the bottom. Each screen has multiple ways of climbing to the next one, usually involving hitting a sequence of targets, although a lucky shot is possible as well. Once you reach the top screen, you get to fight the boss of that board, whether Wispy Woods, Kracko, or Poppy Brothers. I guess they couldn't find a way to make Lololo work as a pinball boss. Unfortunately, unlike Kirby's Dream Land, this game cannot be beaten simply through sheer determination. This is one that actually requires skill and a good amount of luck as well. You are going to rage quit so many times simply because of the completely unfair physics. No, go over to the left. No, stop hitting the wall and go over there. You stupid paddle, hit Kirby to the left. No! Gah! It's a major change from the previous Kirby games, which were so insultingly easy. Instead, it'll often feel like the game is cheating, toying with you just barely long enough to waste your one opportunity to get the Warp Star, forcing you to start all over again. Kirby's Pinball Land will give you a challenge, but for all the wrong reasons. But if you do manage to complete all 3 boards, you gain access to King Dedede's boss battle, who suddenly has the ability to throw bombs and lightning bolts, a skill that thankfully wouldn't carry over into later games. Once you manage to defeat him, you're rewarded with a brief cutscene and a bunch of bonus points, and then the game starts over, and from that point it becomes purely a matter of trying to get a high score, which, thankfully, the game actually does save, a feature that was surprisingly lacking in early arcade-style console games. It would be wrong of me to call Kirby's Pinball Land a bad game, because it isn't. As pinball video games go, it's probably one of the best I've played because there is just so much to do in it. But in the end, it's more of a pinball game than a Kirby game. And while trying to beat your high score can be fun for a while, it just doesn't have the staying power of games in the main series. It doesn't even use Kirby's copy ability, which could have made for something truly memorable. Imagine the versatility of being able to turn into a fireball or a tornado while rolling around the playfield. But it does deserve a spot in Kirby's history because it marks the first time Kirby was used to experiment with a game outside his normal genre. It marked a time when Kirby would start to overtake Mario as their tech demo guinea pig, and they would continue to experiment several more times in the next 2 years before finally getting back to their roots.